Awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is our Wellness and Abundance Wednesday call. We are just so grateful to have you on our call today. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy or maybe not so busy day. I know there is always a lot going on in life, and we are just grateful to have you. You are in for a treat. We have some amazing information to share with you today. I like to just start off the call by saying, if you consider yourself open-minded to the idea of better health, possibly for yourself or for your family, maybe you're looking at, with what's going on in the world, maybe another form or income stream. I know a lot of people are their antennas are going up for different ways to make money with what's going on. Or also maybe you're just looking for more meaningful connections in your life. You want to be surrounded by positive people that are doing something different, doing something good. Then you really are in for a treat today with what we have to share with you. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Julie Mai. I come from the beautiful little island of Kauai over in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I am mom to 4 little humans ranging from 20 months all the way up to 14. My 14-year-old actually just jumped off our pier here in Hanalei and broke her foot last week. So as you can imagine, life has been pretty full and exciting the last week, but we are making do. And I'm going to go back, just so you know a little bit about me, I'm going to go back to 2005. My husband and I were both employees. We were working really hard. We started our family, but we decided that we wanted to start our own business and get ahead and hopefully create a little more financial freedom, a little more choices, time with our kids. And so we did. We launched our business, a jewelry design business, something that I'm extremely passionate about and kind of my creative outlet, if you will. It took a couple years to get going, but it ended up becoming pretty successful. We had a lot of demand. And for any of you who own a brick or mortar business or own your own business, know that you can only do so much. And if it's your own business, a lot of times you bring it home with you, and it's a lot of work. And that's where we found ourselves, is the business that we started to give us more time actually was taking all of our time. And it was just the grind was real, if you will. So I knew I got to a place where I realized that, other people were raising my kids. I was sick and tired of working all the time. I was open to a new idea, although I didn't know what that was going to look like since I was so busy. Sometimes you ask in the universe and God gives you things, unusual packages. And not soon after I was having this realization, a friend of mine called me and invited me to hear some information about a health product that was changing her family's life. More so her husband, who was actually looking at a very scary surgery. They were trying all kinds of things that weren't working. And this product that we're going to share with you tonight actually completely changed his story to the point where he didn't need the surgery anymore. So of course I was curious. Of course I was skeptical. Like a lot of you, if you're hearing this for the first time, I'm sure when you were invited, you were a little skeptical to what you may be hearing. But I also respected her, I valued her, and I wanted to know truly what this was that she was talking about. So I went, I learned, and I was floored by the information that I heard. I was really intrigued by the science. I knew that this was different than anything else I had heard of, and I had 2 questions. And the first question was, if this is real, why doesn't the entire world know about this? Why isn't my doctor telling me about this? Also, if this is real, I want this in my body, and I want everyone that I care about to be taking this because of the health benefits. So of course I went home, and the person that I am, I did my due diligence. I started to dig. I started to look at the company and what they had, their scientific research. But then what I found that was so intriguing and so awesome was that there was this lots of third-party validation. There were scientific associations that were doing research on our products. There was all these different peer-reviewed studies on our product. And for those of you who maybe don't know what a peer-reviewed study is, it is the highest level of scientific study that you can achieve. Basically, if you're a scientist and you come up with a thesis or an idea, your peers try to just prove you wrong or to debunk your idea. And if they can't, you get to publish that study. A lot of them cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a really big deal. So if you're in the healthcare world, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So to me, that was a big deal. And I was like, okay, I did a little bit of, my own research about why this company was on this kind of platform. And I started to take the product. And within a week, 2 weeks, I started to feel better. I was sleeping better. I had more energy. I was a little happier. I just wasn't as grumpy with my kids and my husband. And I was like, this is pretty cool. So I wanted to start sharing it with people that I knew that could really benefit. My mom being one of them. My mom was in her mid-60s, struggling with a few different ailments and just not really in a good place. And I said, Mom, I want you to take this. It's all natural and let's just see what happens. And you guys, within a matter of months, like 2 to 3 months, her quality of life went from very minimal to very maximum of just really living life to the fullest that I've seen her live it in a long time, to the point where people were actually stopping her in the street and asking her, Jai, what are you doing different? You look amazing. She was smiling more. She was getting off some of the different medications that she was on to kind of help her with some of her feelings that she was having. And to me, that was just this aha moment that if this little tiny herbal activator could make such a difference in somebody's life, then I really wanted to get this out there to the world and to as many people as I could. So my story continues, and I have the tail end of my story is something I'm very passionate about, but I'm going to wait until the end of the call to bring it all back in to share that with you. I'm really excited to introduce a couple of our guests tonight that also have some tremendous positive stories. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the science of what we're talking about. So our first guest is Jennifer Murray. She is also from the beautiful island of Kauai. We become good friends over the last 7 years. She is a cookbook author, a vegan chef, and she just has a wealth of wisdom when it comes to wellness and health. And we're so grateful, Jennifer, to have you share on our call. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you, Julie. Yes, as she said, my experience has been in the wellness business, but as a form of a chef and a cookbook author and a restaurant owner. I'm not a scientist, and having to explain things like molecular biology is something that has absolutely pushed me to really just grow and embrace, this as a business, because the more people we can sort of get to wrap their minds around this, the more people we can help. And that, I think, is really what we all want to do in this business is help others have the same or similar experience that we have been having. So with LifeVantage, what we're looking at is a company that's pretty much based around aging or anti-aging. And when I first joined the company, I had a bit of a problem with that. I didn't like the concept of resisting aging, right? But the more the years have gone by, the more I sort of understand, right? Because when you think of like yourself as an old person, what do you think of, or what do you imagine, right? Like it's a little iffy. We're not sure if we're going to be the lucky ones, that stay healthy and do great right up until, the final moment, or if we're going to suffer from diseases and age-related aches and pains and stuff like that. So the more I started to embrace the science of this, which is really taking a look at what aging is at a cellular level, the more I can really, really embrace this concept of anti-aging. The premise of what we're doing here is definitely is getting out of the paradigm of treating symptoms and diseases and into the paradigm of building wellness and staying with wellness. So I really like that. That's something that's really refreshing, is to sort of drop that whole paradigm of getting sick and then addressing your problems. What we do here with all of the products that we have is we build a strong foundation of cellular health. So what that looks like is something we like to call biohacking, also a term that seemed very strange to me in the beginning, but I've come to embrace, this concept of hacking into our biology to optimize it, to understand it, to see it for what it is. Because in my past, my mentality was good diet and exercise is enough, right? Taking care of your mental health, eating good food and exercising was the best thing that we could do. Well, what if it isn't, right? What if somebody has tapped in to something like even a little more special? So this whole field of nutrigenomics has opened up in front of me. Big word, hope you have a pen. Nutrigenomics, nutra meaning comes from nutrition, comes from nutrients, and genomics meaning having to do with the genome or your genetic code. So what we're trying to do here, like I said, is get our health span to match our lifespan. I like thinking of it that way. Like we all have an unknown lifespan, right? And we would all, I think, like to be as healthy as possible that entire time and really limit any amount of time that we are suffering. So with LifeVantage and through cellular activation, which is something that takes maybe a few minutes to wrap your mind around, we've come up with a brand of products called Protandem. And these are sort of our flagship products that sort of magnetize everybody toward our offering. And so I'll just explain them pretty briefly to you. We have an NRF2 activator. And what the NRF2 cellular pathway is responsible for is your oxidative stress. Big, big, big buzzword in health, your oxidative stress. How much stress your cells are under as a result of free radical damage is the responsibility of the NRF2 pathway. It's the waste removal system. So we have a product that enhances your cell's ability to remove oxidative stress. And we have an NRF1 product. And the NRF1 pathway is responsible for your mitochondrial health. Mitochondria also quite significant in your life. It creates 95% of the energy that you live on. Energy is a huge issue for a lot of people these days. It's the #1 health goal for almost everyone out there, is to have more energy to just get through your busy life, right? And NAD, the third cellular activator in the Protandem brand, is NAD. And NAD stimulates sirtuin molecules, proteins in your cells that are responsible for your survival genes. And that sounds very handy to me. Every time one of the scientists goes into survival genes, I get excited that I'm helping those. So what all these things are, the NRF2, the NRF1, and the NAD, is something called, it's part of your epigenetic world, right? A lot of us are familiar with the fact that we have genes and a genetic code, but what expresses those genes is all involved in this epigenetic experience that you're having. And something like 97% of what decides what part of your gene sequence is being expressed is all able to be controlled by basically your nutrient environment. And that's what we're doing. We're using nutrients to affect our genetic code. So this leads us into a big concept with our company, which is supplementation versus activation. Supplementation, taking supplements, is something we do for deficiencies, right? We think we might be deficient in B12, we take a supplement, something like that. And that's not what we're doing with Protandem. Protandem's not supplementing your nutrition. You could think of it more as it's activating your cellular health and well-being, building that solid foundation that everything else in your body is growing from. So with these products that we have and the nutrients that they use, what we've been able to establish is a synergistic relationship with our ingredients. So, in the field of nutrigenomics, there's a lot of nutrients out there, right? And they could all affect your genome positively. But what we have developed here is products that create a synergy, where the 5, let's say 4 or 5 or 6 ingredients that are involved in the formula create a result that is much greater than the sum of its parts. And we've been able to prove that, as Julie mentioned, through peer-reviewed science, which she explained is actually quite complex and difficult to achieve. Peer review, it's much, much, much higher than a clinical study or something like that. And it's just something our company's very dedicated to, is results and being the best, and creating products that really do what they say they're going to do. So in October, when we released NAD, somewhat not to our surprise, the company had also established that there is a synergy involved when you take all 3 of those products together. Whereas, you're reducing your oxidative stress with NRF2 by an average of 40% in 30 days. Very big statement squeezed into this. When you're combining it with the NRF1 and the NAD, you're seeing like over an 800% increase in the NRF2 alone. And you can see that same thing with NRF1 and NAD. So quite significant, this concept of synergy and, helping your cells at this base level. And I like to kind of tie it all together with a little sports analogy. Not a scientist and not really a sports person, but I like this analogy anyway. If your cells are sort of operating like a high school basketball team, and you go ahead and you add one NBA player to that team, needless to say, you're going to see quite a lift off there. If you add another NBA player to that team, they're starting to be unstoppable, right? Those two can work together and coach all the rest. And when you add that third NBA player, it's just, it's through the roof. So what we have with the Tri-Synergizer, you're basically taking your cellular health to just the maximum, place that you could possibly go. And so hopefully that sets just a little bit of context for what the next couple of guests might share with you as to why they are so excited and the results that they're seeing with their own teams. Thanks, Julie.
I love it. Thank you, Jennifer. The science, you guys, we could go on literally for hours and hours and hours and hours about the science. And I just really appreciate the way that Jennifer can put it all together. Simply something so complicated, but the NBA analogy is one of my favorites, because I'm like, if I'm going to have a basketball team, the more NBA players I can have, the better, obviously. And you guys, really, that's what this is about. We're I think growing up, I was taught to be as healthy as I could, eat, good organic food and exercise. And I always believed that was the most powerful thing I could do for the ultimate health, to become healthy as I get older, is what I eat and what, making sure I take care of my body. But supplementation wasn't always something that I really believed in, just because I believed that you couldn't really supplement enough to get the full effect. But this idea of activation that Jennifer just so said so beautifully, that we actually activate the pathways into the cells so that our body starts making our own God-given, natural, incredible antioxidants and glutathione. If you don't know what that is, look that up. Glutathione is like the most incredible enzyme we make, and our product Protandem increases it by 300%. So pretty incredible when you can really think of this idea that we just activate our body to do what it's meant to do when we're younger. Yay! So I'm going to go ahead. Thank you, Jennifer. On to the next presenter. We have Angie Huntley. She is coming in to us from the state of Michigan. She is a mom of 5 boys. Think about that for a second. You can only imagine 5. I have 4 kids, and I'm just like, whew, up to here sometimes. So I just give you so much credit for being a mom of 5, as well as just hearing your story, knowing what you've gone through, how far you've come. Angie is an entrepreneur, a business owner. She owns a restaurant. She also juggles a lot with her life, but her story, you guys, is going to touch you. So get ready to be really moved by what she has to share with us. So Angie, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be on this call. And can you hear me okay? Am I on? Okay, thanks so much. I'm very passionate and I get extremely excited about these products. They've been a part of mine and my family's life for about 5 years now. So I'm coming to you with a little bit of cumulative experience. And I want you to know that although my family has received many diagnoses, these products aren't claiming to cure, treat, or mitigate any specific disease. But I love how Jennifer put it, we're building wellness. These products have been clinically proven, peer-reviewed, scrutinized, to show that they build wellness. And it's a beautiful thing to connect the dots. And as a mama bear, I am a mother of 5, and I am a mama bear. I am a fighter, and when there's an issue, I want to be armed, and I want to give my team, my family, my boys, every possible advantage. And when I looked into how disease itself, so many diseases, almost every disease process that you could think of is rooted in oxidative stress and mitochondrial dysfunction. And so when I think of those diseases, I'm not saying I'm treating it, but man, I want my kids, if they have that diagnosis, man, do I want to lower the oxidative stress. I want to strengthen their mitochondria. I want them to have every fighting chance to be as well as they possibly could be. And so often people want to ask about specific conditions, and I let them know, like, instead of thinking of your diagnosis, do you feel unwell? Well, yeah, so many people have a grocery list of reasons why they're not well. And I said, what if you were well? What if you were building wellness? What would that do to that unwellness? And if we can shift to unwell and well. And so with that said, my boys are 23, almost 20. We have some birthdays coming up, 19, 15, and 15. And in the last 5 years, our family has been through trauma. And I know sometimes it gets overwhelming to kind of hear at my list of things, but yet we're doing okay. So I'm coming from a place of victory and empowerment. And these products are part of the reason why I feel so empowered. I feel armed. And my oldest son played college baseball. He's just graduated, just got his final score today, and he's graduated from Indiana State University. When he was a sophomore playing baseball for Indiana State, he developed a deep vein thrombosis, which is a deep blood clot in his arm. He was clotted from his neck to his wrist. And then the clot broke and went into his lungs, which causes a pulmonary embolism, which is life-threatening, very severe. He could have died, or at the very least lost his arm. And he underwent a very extensive surgery, removing his top rib, his subclavius muscle, and a stent was put in his vein because his collarbone and the subclavius muscle were pinching off blood supply. And so to save his life, he had to have that surgery. My next son really doesn't have a whole lot of issues other than he's an athlete. He also plays college baseball. If he had a season this year, which he hasn't, but he would have been a freshman. And just a lot of injuries, sports injuries, and I want him to have a fighting chance at recovery. I have a almost 20-year-old who joined our family when he was 15, and he comes from a past of severe trauma. And he came into our life 5 years ago when things started kind of getting shaky for us. And he needed to develop sleep patterns, and he needed to recover mentally and emotionally from a lot of the things that he'd been through in his past. And then my youngest boys are identical twins, and they are both type 1 diabetic. And when one of them started to spiral out of control was when I was introduced to these products after trying every possible remedy, being extremely weary and frustrated with no answers, and my child missing all of 5th grade because he wasn't functional and we couldn't find out what was wrong. And we tried these products because a trusted friend, which is why I love network marketing, because her trusted friend shared with her, and I trusted her and she shared with me. And thank God people had a voice and kind of broke through their fear of sharing, because I can say with all of my boys and their different conditions, as I learned about these products and the science backing them, I wanted them armed for the advantage. And in every single one of my boys, we have defied every expectation. My diabetic boys have wellness in their body, which doesn't mean they're not diabetic. It's not treating their diabetes. They'll always have it. They will always need insulin therapy. But our endocrinologist doesn't know what to do with us. Because if you're familiar at all with type 1 diabetes, there's a lot of numbers that matter. And we work very hard in many ways. And this is one of the ways that we are armed to give them, again, every advantage that they can possibly have. We just had our virtual endocrinology appointment today. And once again, she's baffled. My boy's numbers are off the charts. And I know it's unbelievable to me that we can be type 1 diabetics and be living with the levels that they live with. And it sets a precedent for, like, I'm connecting the dots, like, wow, oxidative stress really does matter. I guess mitochondrial health and strength is really something when you're diabetic. And so that's what I can clinically say. It's really something when you're diabetic. You know, my son healed so fast from his surgery, wanting to get back into baseball at Indiana State, that they tested him for steroids 3 times. He defied it. He wasn't supposed to be healing as fast as he was healing. He wasn't supposed to be becoming as strong as he was becoming after what he had been through. He defied every odd. My athletic son in his sports recovery, the freshman that plays baseball right now, it's incredible. Everybody wants what we have because he's a good athlete. You know, when he's on the football field, when he was in high school, he was a target. Everybody was trying to break his legs, and he had some injuries where I'm a protective mom. He's not going back on the field next week if he's injured, but he literally would be remarkably well. Again, well. And our son who joined our family at 15, it's been so beautiful. I love, Julie, how you shared, like, I was in a better mood. I had more joy. I could sleep. That's exactly what Deshaun needed. He needed a fighting chance to be well and to heal his heart, to heal his mind, and his body started becoming well. And there's so much physiology linked with that trauma. And when you start researching trauma, there's elevated oxidative stress. And so I always just ask the question, what if we lowered that oxidative stress? So as a mama, as that mama bear, I will never be without it. My kids are faithful with their vitality stack, with their NAD. They know what to do to keep their bodies in prime condition, and it's important to them. And sometimes we don't value that health and we don't fight for it until it starts to be taken away a little bit, until we start to see unwellness, which I loved how you were saying, man, prevention would be so great. We were more reactive a little bit, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I'm armed with such a treasure, and that's truly how I look at it. I feel like my friend who shared it with me is a treasure. The people who continue to teach me about it are such a treasure, and the products themselves are just, I feel like I wish I could shout it from the rooftops, because you want everybody to be well. You know, I love people. So everyone I see, I want them to be well and experience what we've experienced as a family, especially those who have gone through similar things. And so I'm hoping I'm a talker, so I'm really trying to capsize a ton of really long stories into like 5 minutes. So I hope I did that. But yes, I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. And ultimately, I really think LifeVantage, because I had moments with every single boy, and it does bring tears to my eyes, where I just thought, I got my son back. You know, they were kind of sliding away from me several times with unwellness. And to be able to go, oh my gosh. And my husband and I would look at each other and say, you know, with each different name, we got Gabe back. And it's just, that's priceless. And being able to offer that to other people, oh my gosh, what a treasure. Okay, thank you. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, Angie, I'm so grateful that you did. I think you definitely touched all of our hearts. And the first time I heard your story, I'm like, everyone needs to hear your story. And I know that was hard to be compliant. And you guys, we do have to be careful with our business, because we are natural. We're just herbs. We're not FDA approved. We're not drugs. That's the best part of what we have to offer, is we're all natural. So we are not allowed to say that we cure, mitigate, or prevent any disease. However, when you hear these stories, you know, like, because we do reduce the oxidative stress by 40%, and oxidative stress is the cause of all of these diseases, you can put the two together and make a very a good hypothesis, if you will, on what we do. So Angie, thank you for your story. And it brings tears to my eyes as well, listening to your story, because that's what happened to my mom. I got my mom back. For a long time there, I was like, I don't know, if this, I don't know what's going to happen with our relationship. It was a struggle. So to see her come all the way around and be my mom again, and want to watch my kids and like want to hang out, it was just such a gift. So I relate, and thank you for your story. Such a beautiful story. Our last presenter tonight is one of my dearest friends. We go way back, since we were in high school together, elementary school, way, way back. And she is one of the first friends that I shared this with, because I was so excited. And of course, being a best friend, was very skeptical and just like, oh gosh, being very healthy, probably more healthy than I was, didn't think that there was anything new that she could learn about health and wellness and active supplementation. But when she really started to understand the possibility of Nerve2 and what this is, not only for our inside, but also for our outside. We have a skincare line that does the same thing to our skin, which is the largest organ on our body. She had a tremendous experience with that. So I'm excited to introduce Laura Bishop to the call. She is a mamapreneur. She has 2 beautiful children, one of them being my goddaughter. And she also is just a busy, busy mom, a passion for people. And we're excited, Laura, to have you share a little bit of your journey. Go ahead and unmute. Hold on one second. Let's get her unmuted.
There we go.
There
Can
we
you hear me now?
Yep.
Awesome. Oh, that was so incredible. Thank you, Angie, for sharing, and everyone. And everyone's just really put the information in such an easy way to understand. I really appreciate that. I just want to thank you for having me on the call today, because I love being able to just share with each other, because like she said, when you can share this information and change people's lives, it's an incredible thing. My name, like Julie said, is Laura Bishop, and I live here on the island of Kauai. It's a beautiful day. My husband's a woodworker, and we live off the grid here, and actually built our own little house on some family land, and really just enjoyed a high quality of living. And you know, when Julie brought this to me, just like she said, I was sure that it was implement, and I just really wasn't into the idea of taking pills every day. You know, I just didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know about nutrigenomics. I didn't know about oxidative stress. So what she did, which was really smart, is she said, come on over, you have to try this. And she just squirted something on the back of my hand. And I was like, well, what is this? And she said, this is our skincare line. It has the same technology as Protandem. It has the NRF2 synergizer. It works 4 layers deep into your skin. And I was interested right away, because living in Kauai, we're, you know, sun, salt, sea, dirt. It's just, it runs a gamut on your skin. And I had been looking for something for a while. I have kind of a combination skin, and nothing ever worked here. And the humidity is really high. And so it feels like you have a lot of stuff on your skin when you just even have like a little tiny bit of moisturizer on there. But it was incredible. It made my skin feel amazing. And I've been using it pretty much twice a day for the last 5 years with really incredible results. And one of the things that I love as a mom, and I love, Angie, what you said, is being a mama bear is you want to be armed, right? You want to have the best things for your children, to take care of them. And I love it because I can have the skincare line, which is 4 products, and I can use them on myself for anti-aging and for skincare, but I can use it for so many other issues besides just anti-aging, which I use for, you know, on my children and family and friends. And I always have it in my purse. And I'm like, hey, put this on you. And I just love it. So what happened to me is I said, okay, well, if this is so good, well, maybe I should try the flagship product for Tandem. And I actually circled back around to Julie, and I tried it. And at that point I was about 35, and I really didn't think I was suffering from anything. But when I actually started to list some of my issues of brain fog and not sleeping so well, and some hormonal things that were going on. I've also had seasonal allergies my whole entire life living here in Hawaii. It's all one season, so it's all year long. It's not a good thing. And I had some phenomenal health results, and I felt younger. I felt energized. My cells felt like they did back in my 20s, and I was kind of blown. So I like Julie and everyone on this call did. And, you know, I was actually really pretty happy just being a product user. But something interesting happened is I actually had a friend who I'd just gotten to know, and it's a pretty small island, and he came up to me and he said, oh, have you heard about the product for Tandem? And I was intrigued because it had just been on the island for a little bit, and a light bulb kind of went off in my mind, because I thought, wow, it doesn't matter whether I do business or not. I watch that and share with the friends and family. It doesn't matter yes or not, because this is happening with or for me. Whether I know someone else is going to be sharing with my circle of family and friends, and I want it to be me. I signed up that night, and in about 18 months, jump-started my business, which was perfect because it was before I actually had children. And within that time, I was able to create a financial freedom for myself, which allowed me to actually climb a clock out and be at home with my firstborn, and just be able to be the mother that I wanted to be, and be present and be healthy and be well. It definitely helped me with many things postnatally, which I'm happy to talk about if anyone wants to reach out. But also just ease my mind of stress, even though my husband, you know, was a supporter as well, being able to add to the family income and be able to just feel like you've built something for yourself that can help take care of you and your family. So I'm super passionate now just about sharing every aspect of the product and the business. And I know we're at the bottom of the hour, a little over. So I just wanted to say thanks so much for having me, and much love to all of you.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks so much for sharing that story. And you guys, we really truly do have the full picture here with our product line and all the different activators. And I don't want to take up too much more time, but I do want to answer a question. And you're probably wondering, well, again, why haven't I heard about this? Why can't I go to the health food store and get something like this? And as you've heard today on this call, is there's a story to be told. It's not a supplement. It's not vitamin C. It's not vitamin E. It's actually an activator, which is really hard to get all of that information on a little tiny bottle. And so what happened with this company is they realized that they weren't doing as good as they should have been doing on the shelves. And we were made, and we were on the shelves. We were not made for this type of industry network marketing, which we all are a part of now. So that to me was also another sign is, hey, this is different. And when I realized that we're all natural network marketers, we all love to share stories about our favorite restaurants, our favorite foods, our favorite TV, Netflix shows. We all like to share that. So this is kind of the same idea of, wow, this affected someone's life. This affected my life. I'm going to share with someone who's going to share with someone who's going to share with someone. And we create these networks of people, and we create a leveraged income, a residual income. And so I'm just going to circle back to my story. And you remember when I shared with you, I wasn't struggling for my health, really. Yes, my mom was, but I wasn't sure how I was going to help her with that until this came into my life. But I was struggling with not having enough time for my kids. And that is where my pain was. And I really wanted to create more time freedom in my life. And so when I saw the bigger picture that I could not only, not go out and sell a product, but that I could share stories that were making huge impacts in people's lives. And by doing so, it would continue to grow with or without me. And so like Laura's story, I built this for about 3 years. I created this leveraged wheel that continued to spin. And I was able to jump out of that wheel and have another baby, take a year off just to be mama, because of that wheel kept spinning, and I got pregnant again. That wasn't that was a surprise. That was not the goal, but we did. And now we have 4 and we're so blessed. But I did not have a boss that was going to fire me. I didn't have just the 3 months that you're given when you have a baby. You have to go back to work and figure out what you're going to do with your newborn child. I was able to be with my children and to be the mom that I really wanted to be because of this industry, because not only do we have one of the most incredible products in the world. If you haven't seen this, felt that from the stories that you heard tonight, there's so much research that you can do. And that is really what I want to offer you is, go do your due diligence. I had a lot of life happen to me recently in this last year that I needed to really take care of. And because I had built a residual income, because I had, created this wheel with all these other amazing people that also were creating leverage income for themselves, I was able to take care of life. And that well that I dug was full and I wasn't thirsty. And it's just been such a gift. So that's my story. And I would go a little bit deeper, but I don't want to take too much time. So all I'm going to say is this: I'm sure, and I bet that you're a lot like me. And I bet you have a lot of questions and you're wondering if this is real, and you're wondering if, gosh, this is network marketing. I would never do network marketing. I understand. I was that person. I did not think that this was going to be the answer to my problems or the answer to my, what was going on in my life. But I will tell you this: once I started to dig and once I started to realize what we had our hands on with this company and this product line and this community and this culture that we've created, it has been the most incredible gift in my life. And everyone else who has shared on this call, I know what a gift it's been for them. You heard them share their stories. So please get back to the person that invited you to this call. Please ask them some questions. If you're ready to take the product, by all means, ask them how you can do that. If you want to join the team and create residual income for yourself and your family, again, tell them you're ready for that. And thank you so much for joining us. We do this every Wednesday, so feel free to pop on any Wednesday with us, invite people, and I'm going to go ahead and close out the call with that. So thanks everyone so much for joining us. Thank you to Laura and Angie and Jennifer for sharing your stories with us.